Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
And I'm Al Reynolds, your host and judge.
Each show, there are 4 celebrity cases, 3 real attorneys, 1 verdict, guilty or not guilty. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
A-listers, what's going on? It is Thursday, May 21st, Memorial Day weekend eve. That's right, Memorial Day weekend eve. I'm super excited. I do want to make an announcement that court will be closed. Court will be closed on Memorial Day, which will be Monday. All right? But we're going to celebrate tonight. And tonight, speaking of tonight, before we begin the show, I want to take a moment. And I want to take a personal moment, actually, to acknowledge someone who has truly been a part of my journey from the very beginning. And when I say from the very beginning, I mean back in 2020, when I first stepped onto the set of TGIF, where there was a lot of unknowns for me because it was my first full-time gig on television in front of the cameras as a host. It was a new platform. It was a new audience. It was a new chapter. But from day one, there was a person who consistently showed up with encouragement, honesty, loyalty, a lot of loyalty, I must say, but it was definitely wrapped in genuine care. And the beautiful thing is she just didn't support me publicly. She supported me privately too. She would hit me in my inbox, in my DM, on Snapchat. She helped celebrate my wins. She challenged me to grow. She offered me some real constructive criticism when I needed it, but she also gave me some very thoughtful advice. And she reminded me at many times to stay grounded, stay focused, stay authentic, and most of all, to stay true to myself. Now, in an industry where people often only show up for the applause, I gotta tell you, she showed up for the applause as well as the ugly. And that means more than words can fully express. But let me tell you something. What I admire most about her is not just the support she gives me, but the extraordinary woman she is in every area of her life, if I'm honest. She's an incredible mother. She's a devoted wife. She's a loving daughter who's a caretaker for both of her parents right now. She's a nurturer. For me, she's been a loyal friend. She's the kind of person who pours into others even when no one's watching and even when she doesn't have anything to pour. Those kind of people, in my opinion, are very rare and definitely very rare in the entertainment business. And I want you to know publicly tonight, this person, I want you to know that I see you. I appreciate you, and I deeply am grateful for the role that you played in my life, both professionally and personally. People often think television personalities stand under the lights, but the truth is there are good-hearted people behind the scenes helping hold us together, encouraging us, praying for us, correcting us to something she's very good at, and believing in us sometimes more than we believe in ourselves. Caramel 1977 Cancer, you have been one of those people for me. So tonight, I simply want to say thank you. I want to thank you for your loyalty. I want to thank you for your honesty. I want to thank you for your wisdom. And most of all, I just want to thank you for your genuine friendship. And also thank you for being such a beautiful example of grace and strength and compassion and consistency. I love you and appreciate you deeply. And this moment is for you. Can everyone please throw an emoji of an applause in the chat for my good friend, Caramel 1977 Cancer, for who always shows up with the super chats, support me and my lawyers in all of the platforms that I'm on, whether it's Fox 5, whether it's Pix 11, whether it's YouTube, or just posting on chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciated you. All right. All right, please jump down in the chat, everybody, and help me celebrate this beautiful human being that's been nothing but supportive and genuine since day one. I appreciate it. All right, let's get back to business. That's right, baby. Tonight, the docket is not just full, it's leaking tea all over the courtroom floor. We have 4 celebrity-adjacent legal messes, 4 reputations under review, and 1 question hanging over every headline. And you want to know what that question is? When did fame stop protecting you and paperwork start exposing you? Well, tonight the paperwork is exposing. And first up, who is it exposing? Kim Kardashian and her Skims empire. Yep, you heard me correct. Kim Kardashian's Skims empire is facing a lawsuit claiming workers were not paid properly. And let me tell you something, shapewear may snatch the waist, but payroll records will snatch the narrative if you're not careful. Then after that, we're going to talk about Rashee Rice, who's reportedly dealing with 30 days in jail after a reported positive, yep, you heard me correctly, a positive marijuana test. And this is where celebrity fans start saying, it's just weed. Well, guess what? The court says, no, baby, it's called violating your parole, and it's a big deal. After that, we're going to talk about Paris Jackson. Yep, you know who she is, Michael Jackson's daughter. She's seeking an additional almost $500,000, $500,000 from Michael Jackson's estate. And anytime a family estate gets this specific with the dollar amount, you already know somebody has a calculator out with an attorney on deck and a folder full of receipts. And finally, yep, we're going to dissect Kevin Hart's company, Hartbeat. Hartbeat is fighting former employees over alleged company secrets, confidential information, and whether they're building a competing podcast venture or whether this is just corporate jealousy dressed up in legal paperwork. Now, remember, this is not a press release. This is not crisis management statement. And this is definitely not one of those celebrity interviews where everybody smiles and dodges the question. This right here, this is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, where I bring the mess, my attorneys bring the law, and the jury at home, that's you, the viewers, decide who's guilty and who's not guilty, as well as who needs to stop embarrassing themselves in public. I'm Judge Al Reynolds, and tonight, like I said, the docket is filthy. The optics are even nastier, and somebody's lawyer is probably sweating as we speak. But before we get into tonight's legal foolishness, I need the jury to do the courtroom business first. Be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notification. And as always, get ready to jump in the comments like you were subpoenaed by the Shade Room. If you're watching live, tell me where you're watching from. I need city, country, kitchen table, couch, car, wherever you're judging from tonight, I need to know. And before my attorneys start cleaning this mess up with facts, I want you to give me your first gut instinct based off of what we posted. Who's guilty and who's not guilty in your mind? I need to know it. I need to know it right now. Drop down in the chat. And of course, I'm not in the courtroom alone, because if it were just me, you would have already convicted. I would have already convicted somebody on the headline, the body language, and the audacity. Tonight, I have three real attorneys in the building. I have Sean Carter, Shatan Turner, and Jason Weiss, counselors. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you for having us, Your Honor.
All right, guys, you know what it is. Tonight, I need clarity. I need precision as it relates to the law. I need somebody to tell me when the public is right, when the public is wrong, and when the celebrity is technically innocent, but publicly looking real suspicious. All right, we need to know the law, and that's what we're going to lean on. But guess what? It doesn't mean because you know the law means that they're going to get off, because this is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and we decide if we want them to be guilty or not guilty. We decide who smells funny, what the public mess is misreading, and what celebrities keep forgetting. The courtroom may require evidence, but in public opinion, only needs a headline and a screenshot for us to make our decisions. All right, with that being said, court is now in session. Oop, I almost forgot one more thing. Don't forget, we started an Instagram page, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Be sure to follow and forward to friends to follow. We're trying to get to 200. I only need a few more before we're there. So like I said, please follow Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. All right, court is now in session. A quick legal note, though, before somebody's publicists start drafting an email to me. Allegations are not convictions. Lawsuits are not verdicts. Everyone discussed tonight is entitled to due process and is presumed innocent in a court of law unless proven otherwise. But in this courtroom, all we have to be aware of is your behavior. We also examine optics. We examine legal exposure. We ask the question the public is already asked. Does it look like a misunderstanding, or does it look like mess with paperwork attached? All right, that's what we do, because we are Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. First up, let's start with Skims. All right, yep, Skims. That is Kim Kardashian and a wage lawsuit, because nothing makes the public sit up straighter than hearing that a billion-dollar-looking brand is being accused of not paying people properly. Now, according to the report, Kim Kardashian's Skims empire is facing a lawsuit claiming workers were not paid full wages. And let me say this carefully. This is not me saying Skims did it. This is not me saying Kim personally sat at a desk with a calculator and said, let's short the workers. But what I am saying is this: when your brand is built on luxury, influence, access, body image, celebrity, and $1 billion, the public expects your payroll to be as tight as your marketing. All right, let's go to you first, Sean Carter, counselor. Let's strip the celebrity off the record, off this right now, off the record. In a wage and hour case like this, what is usually the real smoking gun that brings it to the public like this? And if you'd like to share the background on this case, I would like for you to do that as well. But what is the smoking gun here?
The smoking gun is usually going to be the timesheets. And let me explain. All right. California has very strict laws with wage and hours that says you have to pay people, all right, for every hour they work. That's obvious. And in addition to that, if they work over 40 hours, then you got to pay them overtime. All right. You can't just, give people their regular time. Also, you got to supply them with enough lunchtime. So if someone has to skip lunch every day, you got to pay them overtime. Okay. Or you're going to be in trouble. One employee from Skims has brought this case now. And his lawyer is trying to say, hey, this is happening to everybody. We want to get this certified as a class action because this one person is probably owed like $300. But with thousands of people, it can be an issue, right? And so here's the two things. He's saying that one, you're right, you guys have accounting software that keeps rounding down on us. So if I'm here for 25 minutes, you only give me 15 minutes, right? And so over thousands of people, over thousands of hours, that adds up. They're also saying that we're sometimes on call, and you don't pay us to be on call. And California has an interesting law in that regard, which California says, think about doctors are often on call. They're not getting paid if they don't have to go in. But if you make people stay on the premises to be on call, then you do have to pay them. Or if you say something like, hey, you got to be here in 5 minutes so that everybody has to stay around the company, then you do have to pay people. So it's going to be a question as to when they have on-call time as to, how demanding that is and if people can go out and enjoy their lives when they're on call. All of that said, here's the thing that's interesting is the Kim K people, the Skims people say, look, this is a classic wage and hour lawsuit. California, by the way, if you have a company in California with over like 100 employees, you get one of these about every 2 weeks because there's a lot of money involved and people always want to do this. And companies are kind of sloppy on this. And they're saying this is a cookie cutter lawsuit. You didn't really allege anything specific. We saw the insert name here, right? In the meta tags here. You do this all the time. It's no big deal. But I think it is a big deal in the sense that, there is a lot of, right, rounding down, and companies basically say, hey, we don't have to rip you off like all your money, but if we can rip off everybody a little bit, right, that turns into millions of dollars. And so that's going to be really the question is whether they've been doing it or not. Chances are decent that they've been doing a little bit probably.
Let me ask this. I don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you this, counselor. So what I hear you saying is, because when I originally read this, I thought we were talking about where Skims was manufactured, which we know is not in the United States. What you're talking about is there is a lawsuit of the Skims corporate, which is located in
California.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, the people, the slave laborers who getting 2 cents an hour to make that stuff, they didn't even bring the lawsuit. They're happy with the 2 cents. All right. It's the people in California who work in accounting and all of that who are suing.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me ask the question that everyone's thinking then. If it's not the guys across the water, when I hear Skims and workers not being paid, I automatically think, how are you worth all this money? Billions of dollars, and you're not paying people what they deserve. So I'm going to take this to you, Attorney Turner, really quickly. Counsel, what defense do employers usually hide behind in cases like this? Are we talking work classification? Are we talking about rounding time, like Attorney Carter said? Are we talking about arbitration agreements? Are we talking about blaming a third-party payroll company? Because I've been in a situation where they've done that. Are we saying that the wrong legal entity got sued? What's going on here?
Well, I've done like a million jobs in the law, and one of them that I used to do is to be an employment lawyer defending companies against cases like this. So this is a standard wage and hour lawsuit. And what that means is somebody is complaining that they didn't get paid appropriate wages for the hours they worked, as Attorney Carter indicated.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no standard defense, but here are some of the things that are relevant when you're talking about cases that arise under state wage and hour law and then the federal law, which is the Fair Labor Standards Act. And
Okay.
you hinted at some of them. One is the classification of the employees. So anybody who's ever had a job knows that you can be non-exempt or you can be exempt. A lot of times people are like, oh, I want to be exempt so I can be salaried because there is an emotional attachment to that classification. Quiet is kept. Being non-exempt, in my opinion, is kind of the best thing going because then you get entitled to overtime. So what's happening in this case is that employees are alleging that they were non-exempt, which means they were entitled to be paid for all hours worked. If they only worked 40 hours, that would be all they got. But then if they worked over 40 hours, which they're alleging that they did, then they get time and a half. And that's what my dad used to call that good money. And so, yeah. So what they're saying is that they didn't get that good money, but they were working those good hours. And that's what this lawsuit's about.
Okay, I like this. Thank you so much for that. I love it when these are our sweet spots and we have lawyers that have actually done this type of stuff. So for our A-listers, because like I said, I've gone through this, and usually what they tell you is they come up with like this reason why your paycheck isn't adding up to the hours that you have in your mind. What is your advice to our A-listers on how to handle this?
The A-listers should keep track of hours worked and also the break time. So they're entitled to 30 minutes of uninterrupted break time in the middle of the day as well. And so here's the thing that really ends up getting confusing is if you've ever been an employer, and quite frankly, Jason and Sean, Al's our employer, and I think we be working a lot and we don't be getting all our time. So after the show, we're going to have a conversation about you. But no, seriously, we're only working
2 hours a week. You're right.
Yeah, it's not, it doesn't arise to that level. But people are really, they should be motivated to make sure they have a ledger, in my opinion. So they're probably tapping into a time clock that's on a computer. Often it's something called Chronos. That's just a type of the software. Yeah. And so you want to make sure you're getting accounted for all hours work. Don't allow it to default to a standard hour calculation if you're non-exempt. So when you're non-exempt, if you get in at like 7:48, it should say 7:48 and not 8 o'clock. And then it should also clock out when you leave. It should be
all right. Let me ask you this question, because this is what I was given as advice as well. That when they ask you to stay a little bit longer because your relief hasn't come in, it's always better to stay not for 10 or 15 minutes, but to stay in 30-minute increments. If not, say, I'll stay, but I am going to stay for the full hour regardless of when they come in. What advice do you give for employees that are faced with that challenge?
That's not really a challenge because they're obligated to pay you for hours work. So if you stay for 15 minutes on Monday and 15 minutes on Tuesday, and then they're on all week, then all of that extra 15 minutes gets calculated to determine what you're entitled to for time and a half if you exceed 40 hours. The people who said to you, like, stay for 30 or stay for 60, they probably were hustlers. And they're like, look, get your bag and make sure that you push it out as long as you can. But in truth, if employers are doing it the right way, you get paid once you exceed 40 hours. But it's important for the algorators. It's not like you work 10 hours on Monday and now you get overtime, because it's possible when you come on Tuesday, they're like, only stay for 7 hours. It's only if you exceed 40 hours for the week that you're entitled to overtime.
All right, Jason, before I throw to you, let's go to the comments. Christine R., a good friend of Jason's, said her last employer had a big meeting with her because she was taking 2 15-minute breaks in addition to her 30-minute lunch. They told me I'm not entitled to any breaks, just my lunch. I don't think that's right. I'm sorry. I'm not even a lawyer, and I don't think that's right. But let's go to you, Jason, really quickly. If you represented these workers, what would be the first document you would demand in discovery?
Timesheets, when they clocked in, when they clocked out, because some of the allegations are that they didn't even get the proper wages. They said they were underpaid, what they were. I'm guessing that has to do with the time and a half, because like Attorney Turner said, the second you break that 40-hour-a-week mark, that next minute or that next 0.1 needs to be paid at time and a half. It's not 80 hours over a 2-week period. It's 40 hours a week. You want to work 10 hours a day, 4 days, and not work the 5th day? That's normal. And that's okay. But it's absolutely 40 hours a week. And the first thing I would ask for is, let me see those time, stamp in, stamp out, clock in, clock out. And most companies keep good records.
Okay. So this is a messy question, and this is how I look at it. If your brand can afford celebrity campaigns that are millions of dollars, luxury launches, which are millions of dollars, influencer rollouts, which is millions of dollars, global visibility, which you pay millions of dollars for, come on now. Get some daggone efficient payroll and pay your freaking employees. Pay the people their money. I don't care. The fact that they had to come to the internet to get paid what they worked for is a problem, in my opinion. All right, judges. All right, counselors, tell me real quick. Does Kim have a problem? Attorney Turner, what say you? You're the expert.
She absolutely has a problem if the records prove that this guy worked more than he was paid.
All right. From payroll and paper trails to a case where the court is reportedly saying, we gave you conditions, you gave us a reason to put your ass in jail. That's right. Next up, we have Rashee Rice. Now, according to reports, he was ordered to serve 30 days in jail after reportedly testing positive for marijuana. And this is where the public conversations immediately splits in half. One says, come on, guys, it's marijuana. Why are you still acting like it's 1987? Well, the other side says, baby, the issue is not the weed. The issue is the court order. And that is the part people miss. Because when you're under court supervision, probation, bond conditions, and any kind of structured legal restriction, the question is not always whether the substance itself shocks society. The question is, did you violate the conditions? And the courts do not feel like being ignored or, told that it's not that important. All right, Attorney Carter, let's go to you, counselor. When a court orders jail time, because let's be clear, he gets jail time, 30 days in a situation like this, what is usually behind it? And can you explain the case for us a little bit?
Sure. So let's go to the specific case. All right. It's 2024. Rashee is in Dallas, and you see him here. You're going to see him on, and I think this car it comes up behind, but he and his buddy are doing 114 miles an hour on this freeway and get into this accident, all right, causes all these accidents. And then this is what Rashee, I'm not even calling him Rashee anymore. I'm calling him Ashy, because this is what Ashy does. He and his boys get out of the car, you see here, and just take off like they didn't have nothing to do with it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't us. Now, by the way, this is a rental car. So they're going to be able to trace it back to him. They trace it back to him and come and arrest him. And partially his big problem is not just the drag racing, but the fact he left the scene of the accident. And when they look and they search his car, guess what they find in the car? Weed. Now, maybe one reason he left is because they might have been high at the time. I don't know. But by the time they catch up with him, he's no longer high. So they don't charge him with drunk driving or anything like that, or driving under the influence. They basically say, look, you left the scene of accident. That's a felony. And his original sentence was 5 years of probation, and you need to serve 30 days in jail at some point in the next 5 years. Now, that's the thing that's interesting is that what the judge said here was, you violated probation, you're going to do those 30 days now. So he didn't really get any more time. They just simply said, you've been, and by the way, since the year he took this deal, he hadn't done a day of that 30 days time. So they're like, look, you don't call in for probation, you reports, you haven't done any of the time, you're not taking this seriously. Let's get your 30 days done now. And so that's what the judge ruled here. The judge could have given him the whole 5 years. All right. This judge actually is pretty lenient here, and it's just THC, and it wouldn't be a problem with the drugs, except for the fact that they found him in his car. So, and if you normally get probation, you don't have this 5-year probation. But for the next 5 years, Rashee, as Stephen A would say, stay off the weed.
Attorney Weiss, let me tell you something. It could be me. Very glad I'm not a real judge, because when I hear weed, I don't hear bad. I don't hear extreme. Now, this behavior, driving and the car accidents that he created could have killed people. I do hear the significance of that. I do, for sure. But what does a judge look at before escalating to jail in this case? Because was it not his first time? Did he have a pattern? Is it because he missed his test? Did he miss his court dates? Was it his attitude? Why is this judge so aggressive, in your opinion, with the 5-year probation? That's a long time to be, as a young guy with a lot of money, fast cars, fast women, access to everything. That's a long time not to do something stupid. So was it prior to this? What's the seriousness of the underlying case?
Well, you got to remember this, and like Attorney Carter said, he got a really good deal, right? No jail time, no nothing, probation, and it was basically, the judge gave him a second chance. He said, "You're a young man who just came into a lot of money. You're thinking with things other than your brain, and you went ahead and did this. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to straighten yourself up and get this right." So what does he do? He goes ahead. And one of the things he's not allowed to do, and it's a condition of the probation, is you cannot smoke weed, period. He tested positive. That's a breach, right? Anybody, especially in the state of Florida, you can own a gun. When you're on probation, guess what? You can't have a gun. If they come into your house and there's a gun sitting next to you, guess what? You're in violation of your probation. You're out. So it was kind of like when your mom said to you, Judge Reynolds, if I didn't punish you because you were home late last night, but the next time you're home late, that's it. You're grounded. And you slide in the door 1 minute late. Mom, it's just 1 minute. Nope. Yeah, I told you what would happen. And think about it that way. And I think the judge got it right.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay, let's go to you, Attorney Turner. What are realistic next steps in this case? Like, do you think he should serve the time? Should he request a modification? Should he appeal? Like, what do you think he should do? And how realistic? I'm not. Listen, I'm only being realistic. How realistic is it to ask a 21, 22-year-old millionaire, multimillionaire, to not smoke weed?
Depends on who's asking. Maybe one of those fast women might be able to get him to stop smoking that you mentioned. Yeah, fast cars, fast women. I'm sitting here thinking, how Attorney Al Reynolds know he got fast women? Unless, well, anyway. But I think that here's really the question. And this is where youth and testosterone interfere with good judgment.
Okay.
Hubris. Right. So I think that he's and people who are his peers are thinking like you. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I can't smoke no weed. Right.
Right.
But they'll be in trouble. That's my thing. How realistic is it? I don't know. But when a judge asks you to do something or tells you to do something, you need to do it. And so whatever you need to be able to comply, whether it be like, I don't know, taking a patch, getting on Suboxone, doing something that gives you to lose your taste for weed, you need to do it, because as Attorney Weiss indicated, and that was a brilliant example he made about your mom and you came in 1 minute late, it really doesn't matter. If you violate the rule, you get the penalty.
All right, so let me ask the question that I'm sure everybody else is asking. Does that even mean he can't have a gummy? He can't do like weed
yes,
drinks.
yes.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
And let's be clear. The 30 days he's serving are the 30 days he has to serve anyway. And the problem he has is that he hasn't even put any money down on it. It'd be like, for instance, somebody owed you money and you said you pay me back my $30,000 in 5 years. And now it's been a year, they ain't paid you back nothing. They out there spending it, enjoying it. You're like, are you ever planning on paying me back? And so if he had served some of this jail time already, then maybe the judge would have been a little more lenient. Now, as far as the weed's concerned, let me tell you this. There are other drugs out there. All right? There's alcohol. All right? Get you some crack. All right? There's other drugs that you can do than get some fentanyl. All right? Do something. I don't know why weed is so wonderful. You got other drugs out there.
I'm just saying, you're saying this because if you can't do marijuana because that'll end you up in jail, roll your dice in a different lane. Is that what you're saying?
There are a lot of people. I bet you somebody. I bet there's an A-lister.
We gotta dial this back. Whenever one of the lawyers
in the court,
you
got a Hartbeat law.
No. Let's be clear. There are a lot of A-listers out there. I bet you somebody A-lister works for the government in contracting, defense contractors. Those people can't smoke weed. I hang out with them all the time. They drink. All right, they're not staying sober. Anybody stay sober all the time, but you find something else. There's lots of other drugs out there.
But
all right, get you some Adderall, all right, or some Xanax.
But here's the thing: he's on probation because he avoided 2 third-degree felonies. He didn't do any jail time, and the court said, "Look, I am going to release you. I'm going to let you do this, but here are the guidelines." He screwed up. He didn't follow the guidelines. He's going to serve the 30 days that he has to do anyway. But guess what? He ain't showing up to OTAs, and this is costing him a lot of money. Maybe he'll learn.
Well, you know what, Jason? What I've learned in working with these young athletes is because they're making more money than they've ever made in their lives. This money, this $20,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 that they have to pay in fine, it almost like it's no money to them. It's what they trick off at the clubs. It's what they trick off at the strip clubs. It's what they trick off on a weekend of flying people and being flown, having women fly in. I don't know what the answer is, but we got to figure out something. Let's jump down to some of these chats real quick before we move forward, because we got some interesting chats here. Colette Davis, our real estate expert in the DMV, said, follow the freaking court orders and you won't have any issues. Well, Colette, they rich. They ain't used to following rules. Vippa P says, is weed even legal in his state? I think Texas is, well, according to Jason Weiss, Texas is one of the strictest states on cannabis, so I guess not. Sandra McGee, Rice is just childish and irresponsible. Okay, I mean, Christine R says it smells like entitlement, and that's a big problem among a lot of young, wealthy people. You're right. I mean, they're learning it from the best right now in office. Nisha Phillips says, get some crack on the floor, crying, laughing. Attorney Carter is hilarious. Yes, he is. All right. P. Monsell Singer 700 says, greeting and salutations. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. Brenda K says, he's a lucky fool. Attorney Carter, did you smoke before the show tonight?
I plead the fifth.
Sandra McGee says, not crack, Attorney Carter, not crack. He says, fentanyl is unaliving. SL Warrior says, it's called human reduction. All right, y'all.
Harm reduction.
Rich today, poor tomorrow. And really quickly, thank you so much for the super chat. Super chat from all. Oh, no. Is that a super chat or is that just a comment?
Allie Good 321. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Allie.
So much. Oh, yeah, it is a super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Sandra McGee says, no, it's not legal here in Texas. And Eva Nava 78 said, Rashid was given a ton of grace. He needs to realize that. I agree. I just always say to myself, though, with those young, wealthy guys that are so successful and think the world is theirs, I guess it's these types of judgments that's going to wake them up and make them realize
I hope so.
What the real issue is. No. All right, attorneys, really quickly, tell me, is this something Rashid should be worried about, or can he buy his way out of it? Attorney Carter, Attorney Turner, what say you?
I doubt he can buy himself out of it, but I'm a lawyer, and I think he should make all the arguments he can. But in this case, he was a fool, like they said in the chat. He was given a huge favor and he blew it.
I agree. All right. Miss Unique 76 says, guys, I finally caught alive. I love this show from Davie, Florida. Davie, Florida. All right, Davie, Florida. Welcome to the show. All right, everyone. From court discipline to estate money. This one's going to be interesting. And baby, nothing turns family into finance faster than an estate with a superstar last name like Michael Jackson. Yep, baby. Paris Jackson is showing her you know what. Now, according to reports, Paris Jackson is seeking an additional $500,000 from Michael Jackson, her daddy's estate. Now, I want us to sit with that number for a second. Not 400,000, not 450,000, not 500,000, but she says specifically $463,752. Now, this is a very specific number. This is not an emotional number. This is a spreadsheet number. This is an invoice number. This is somebody has backup documents and she's got them in a manila folder or saved on her iPhone. Now, anytime you hear estate, family, celebrity, an exact dollar amount, you already know the courtroom is about to become an accountant office with better lighting. All right, I got to throw to you really quickly, Attorney Carter. Now, what in the whole Michael Jackson is going on right here? And from Paris?
This is amazing. All right. So Paris last week got a ruling that says you guys overpaid the lawyers about 8 years ago. You gave them this bonus money and they didn't deserve that bonus money. Have them put that money back in my daddy's estate because I want my money now. Right. And then the week after she went back and said, by the way, there was interest that you owe on that money. That's $500,000 of interest that the estate, the executors need to pay out of their pocket. All right, you need to come out of your pocket for the interest on all that money that I would have been earning all this time. And her attitude has basically been, look, she's saying, look, I know that my daddy was the king of pop, but I'm now the queen of pop, and y'all work for me. And what they're saying is, little girl, sit your little butts, light-skinned butts down somewhere, okay? When we got this estate, your daddy was damn near broke, all right? Because his estate looked like his hair, all right? It was all out of control. And we put this thing together, and now it's worth $5.5 billion because we set up all these deals, MJ the Musical, etc. And we had lawyers doing this, and we worked hard to make sure your money is going to be good. And in a few years, you're going to be entitled, all right, to 1/3 of this $5 billion that we built for you. Just sit your butt down and let us make money for you. And she's saying, no. I'm grown now, and y'all, I'm going to watch over this very carefully because I think y'all going to steal my money. Up until now, just so I took a look at this, the way estate works is that none of them get all of their money immediately. When she's 30, in 2 years, she's going to get 1/3 of the money she's entitled to. All right, so she's entitled to about $2 billion. She's going to get $600 million or so. When she's 35, she'll get the next third. And when she's 40, she'll get the rest of it. And the same thing applies to her big brother, Prince, and in little Blanket. Blanket, by the way, did you know that Blanket is 24 now?
What?
Yeah, I know. That baby was just held over the balcony about 2 weeks ago, right?
Over the balcony?
Yep.
Yes, that baby, that little baby. And by the way, they're getting about $3 million a year. But she's like, look, I want to make sure that y'all have some of my money left for me. And they're like, little girl, just mind your business, all right? You barely passed high school algebra. We got this. And so the big fight is really over who's grown or not. And she's like, look, who's bad? I'm bad. And and so she has her lawyers all up in their butts, checking every dime that they ever spent. And they're like, come on, girl, we made you $5 billion. All right, can I get a Slurpee in here? And she's like, no, you get a Slurpee, and you paying it back. That's my Slurpee money.
She's telling her lawyers, what is it? Don't stop till you get enough. And, and we got to beat this. Beat it, baby.
So, Jason, let me ask you, what documents actually decide something like this? Is it the terms of the trust? Is it estate accounting? Is it invoices? Is it court orders? I'm so confused. How would she even come up with such a specific number? Is someone else like sliding her paper saying, hey, they doing you wrong. You need to go back and get this 500,000? I just don't know why or how she would know something so specific that she's making such a big deal. Now, this is the part that really disturbs me the most, is that this Jackson family knows everything about PR. They know everything about entertainment marketing. So for her to bring this forward during one of the most celebrated times of the family in a long time, off of the success and the heels of this movie, seems very intentional and dirty to me.
Well, I mean, look, we're talking about an intentional and dirty. You know, let's hear what Paris has to say about this, and then I'll go ahead and I'll explain to you why she's specifically asking for that number, because she thinks this is dirty as can be.
All right, bailiff, take it away.
A big reason why I haven't said anything up until this point is because I know a lot of you guys are going to be happy with it. Like, a big section. The film panders to a very specific section of my dad's fandom that still lives in the fantasy. And they're gonna be happy with it. The thing about these biopics is it's Hollywood, so it's fantasy land. It's not real, but it's sold to you as real, and a lot of sugar-coated, like the narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies, and at the
Oh, Jason, I got a whole problem with that. I'm sorry.
So look,
hold on. I got a problem with this blonde-headed, optics-looking white girl telling me you grew up in this industry. You knew what it was when you were born into it. All the privileges that you have in life are because of it. Like, what's going on, young lady? Like, you know exactly what you're doing. Like, this is not a misstep. This isn't, oh, I had to stay quiet because. No, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing off the heels of a very successful, like, reigniting, rebirth of this family's legacy. You're now going to throw in a dirty lawsuit that you're being taken advantage of. Somebody can help me figure this one out.
So look, she's striking while the iron is hot. Right now, that Michael Jackson movie is the hottest thing out there. It's raking in tons of money. So she wants to go ahead and get herself publicity, get the movie publicity, and make more money. The reason you asked about that 463,000 blah 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 blah, that's all interest on the back money that she claims she never got. So yes, she has a forensic accounting team, she has accountants, she has lawyers, and all of these people. She didn't come up with this on her own. They were like, okay, great, we got what we wanted, but wait a second, what about the interest? And look, we said it with Rashee Rice. The wealthy, how do you think they stay wealthy? They count every penny they want. They don't want to give away. They want their money, and that's what she did. So maybe with her 28 years of being in the movie industry and the entertainment industry, she knows how to get her money.
Okay, I get that, but let me go to you, Attorney Turner, because let's be very clear here. The Jackson estate, people, especially when you think this is perceived as a family feud, this is perceived as secret money, hidden control, somebody's being greedy, somebody's being cut out. This is being perceived as her saying basically that although this biopic was great, it was false. Like, you don't just make those accusations and throw in, oh, you owe me $500,000 for no reason. You're like, come on, Attorney Turner, what's really going on here? This seems to me like the intersection of manipulation with maybe some type of technical financial issue, but it sounds like she's more disgruntled about not having a say in the biopic more than anything else.
I can't question Paris Jackson's motives, but I will say this. I think that we might be connecting the dots in a way that they don't actually connect. I don't know that this is linear. The interest piece of it relates to what the movie has made and it's gone into the estate, but her claims against these lawyers, like, she's not suing her cute cousin who's playing Michael or Jermaine or the people who are endorsing the movie. What she's saying is that these lawyers have engaged in what she believes is impropriety, because regardless of if they expanded the estate to $5 billion, that they've taken premium payments that they weren't entitled to. And she's kind of like, you know what? I like you, but not that much. I don't want to rock with you. What I want is my money.
Yeah, I think you're missing my point. I think you're missing my point completely. I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve the money, that she's been swindled. I'm saying that it is not by happenstance that she's standing on the heels of a successful biopic that's getting all the press to now step in and muddy the waters, which I think for me is inappropriate. Don't mess with the Michael Jackson legacy this way because someone owes you money. Deal with that with your lawyers outside of the public domain. Because, baby, I hate to tell you, in public opinion, we're not feeling sorry for anybody that's going to be worth $5 billion and someone that's getting $600 million in less than 24 months. That's my personal public opinion, and I'm allowed it. But I know for a fact, I teach this every day in a classroom, that entertainment marketing, these types of things don't happen because she's disgruntled. She's been disgruntled for a long time in this space. Obviously, she's using it off the heels of a biopic that has a positive push in press to get what she wants because her
the two are completely unrelated, Al. The two are completely unrelated.
No, they're not.
No, listen to me.
Listen, you mean to tell me that
they're related?
Hold on, just listen to me. You mean to tell me that this lawsuit just all of a sudden came up and she's bringing it to the press now because it's unrelated? They can't. Yeah,
they don't schedule court dates around movie releases, Al. She filed this several years ago. This happened 6 years ago. This has nothing to do with that.
Hear me out. Talking about it several years.
No, hear me out. When she went on Instagram, she wasn't talking about that lawsuit. She was talking about the biopic, and what she was saying is, my daddy ain't shit. Y'all showing the good stuff. I never liked his sleeping ass anyway. She is telling you the truth that she don't like that man. It has nothing to do with the estate. The estate
I don't like it. It smells intentional to me. I'm sorry.
It's intentional. Al, please hear me out, Your Honor. We're not saying that she is doing the right thing. We like what she has to say. I'm saying that what she had to say in that Instagram video has nothing to do with this lawsuit. What she's saying in the Instagram video is totally different. She's saying y'all like the movie, y'all like that stuff because you only saw part of it. I know that man for real. He ain't shit. That's what she's trying to tell you.
I got that, Attorney Carter. But tell me, why are we reading about this lawsuit now?
The court schedule does not schedule their stuff around movie releases. This was filed 6 years ago, Al.
Explain to me why we are talking about a lawsuit. Why are we talking about a lawsuit now? Now, let's be very clear. You are all attorneys. If she didn't want the public knowledge to know about this, she can do anonymous versus anonymous in order to keep.
No, she cannot. Al, it's public. It's public.
What? You can.
These are public files. When you file a lawsuit against someone, it's a public record.
I know, but you can easily keep it out of the court dockets in knowing that it's Paris against her estate.
Right, but the estate, think about it, Al. What she's saying about the estate has nothing to do with Michael. He's dead. When she sues them, she's not suing Michael. She's suing the state. She's suing the people. She's basically saying, my daddy wanted me to have this money, and you wouldn't let him have it. I'm saying what she said on Instagram was totally different. We should be talking about that because what she was saying on Instagram is totally different. It's like, I'm telling you, forget the estate. I'm telling you that I don't really like that man. At least it sounds like to me. Or that y'all didn't tell the truth about that man. Y'all only told the good stuff. I know some other stuff. And I'm not talking about the abuse allegations. I imagine that she a little mad because he probably wasn't around much. He was sleeping 18 hours a day. Covering up with a blanket.
All I know
he probably has some issues.
All I know is this. I'm a Michael Jackson fan till the day I die. Anything that tries to muddy the waters, this is my court. I get to share it. I don't like it. Okay, it might not make sense to you. I don't like
what Carter's saying is that it's coincidental. If her name wasn't Paris Jackson, we wouldn't be talking about this estate claim. That's the thing. This is just a generic, the lawyers messed up case.
Okay. I still am a Michael Jackson fan. And I'm for Michael. Leave him alone. All right, from estate math to corporate welfare, because now we have Kevin Hart's company, Hartbeat, former employees allege confidential information and a restraining order fight that sounds like business divorce with a podcast microphone attached. This is going to be interesting. I can't wait for you guys to break this down. The last case on tonight's docket is Kevin Hart's company, Hartbeat. All right. Now, according to TMZ, Hartbeat sued 2 former employees. Now, allegedly misuse of confidential or trade secret information tied to building a competing podcast venture. Now, TMZ also reports that former employees are fighting the restraining order requests and claiming that there's no proof and that the move is intended to block them from working. Now, baby, this is the kind of business drama I love because everything is a celebrity-backed company. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. Break this down for me. Explain to me why 2 employees that he fired, right, because he shelved their ideas, that when they go off and start their own, it all of a sudden becomes a problem.
Well, and you're right. That's an interesting question, right? So he hires these 2 guys or 2 people to run his Hartbeat, productions, entertainment conglomerate, and they're on the audio podcast division. Mm-hmm. And then they come into work in January and find, I think, on their computers that the 2 of them have put together a $2 million PowerPoint slide deck video that they've been selling to investors, saying, "Hey, we did this for Kevin Hart. We can now do this for you." So on company work time, on company premises, they have their $2 million. They presented a presentation that they're now going to take to other people and try to go and start their own company. And so part of the thing is, it'd be one thing if they quit first. They're working for him at the same time. And he's saying that one of my big clients, you guys ran off so you can go get on the other side. You're sabotaging my business to start your business. Now, here's the thing is, they filed a temporary injunction saying that you got to stop these people immediately. And the judge says, no, Kevin. All right. He probably called him some of the names they called him in the roast and said, you understand, you need to have more specific allegations than this. To get a temporary injunction, it basically means for a judge to say, I've got to stop this right now. Otherwise, we can never put this genie back in the bottle. He says, it's not that big of a deal, Kevin. All right, it's just $2 million. Just calm down. But Kevin is saying, hey, these people were working for me at the same time. And we're trying to basically steal my business from under me. And we're going to fight this out.
All right, Jason, they say that he says trade secret, right? Mm-hmm. What counts as real trade secret evidence? Are we talking about files? Are we talking about pitch decks? Are we talking about internal strategy documents? What are trade secrets in podcasting when it comes to intellectual property and creativity, especially for producers?
Well, it doesn't have to be intellectual property and creativity to begin with. Trade secrets are anything that you're using that isn't known to the general public. So, for you to be all happy and excited tonight, Judge Reynolds, you probably had a drink and you probably mixed your certain ingredients, and that's your trade secret, right? You don't need to let everybody know. But just going back real quick, in order for Kevin Hart to get an injunction, he would have to show a likelihood of success on the merits, irreparable harm, balance of hardships, and public interest. And there is none of that here. So that's why the judge shot that down. Now, the judge might say, hey, look, I'm going to stop this later on, but for right now, to get a temporary injunction, And also, if the judge would have said, you know what, I'm going to give you that temporary injunction, but in order to get it, you're going to have to post a bond of 3 times the amount that you claim you were damaged. So you can post a $6 million bond on a $2 million claim. So this is all, this is all gathering, publicity, gathering press. And again, this is going to settle, and this is going to settle quick.
Okay, let's go to the comments. I be the shit says Kevin Hart ex-workers look goofy and suspect, especially the goofy one with his mouth open. Those are the best. Those are the best writers. Colette Davis. We need to be talking about roasting of Kevin Hart. I know, but none of that was illegal. Beppa P says, when you're paid to be in America, make your super chats higher. Danielle Cameron says they look like they did it. Oh my God, y'all stop it. Sarah McGee says, but Janice also said the biopic was inaccurate. Kitty Boo says, me too, L, MJ forever. That's right. That's a different story. Kitty Boo also said Jason is over it. He'll be okay. All right, let's go attorneys, because we're cut for time here. How much, what does the case look like for these people that Kevin are trying to sue? Does he have space here, or what's going on?
He's got
Attorney Turner?
He's got some runway because he's doing it. But one of the most famous trade secrets in the industry, right, is the formula for Coca-Cola. And that used to be talked about a lot. And it's also in all the textbooks related to trade secrets because it's the secret sauce, if you will. And so what Kevin Hart is going to have to show is that the secret sauce that these two goofy people were peddling, they wouldn't have been able to have it if it wasn't for them working on his show, that there was something magical about working there, that they figured out the way to best position, a joke or whatever. And so it'll be interesting. I think it's an uphill battle, but I applaud the creativity of his legal team.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, let's keep it moving. This is the part of the show. Let me see, because we talked about that. Yep. This is the part of the show where we go to you, the jury. We go to you, the jury, to decide who's guilty or who's not guilty in celebrity court of public opinion. That's right. We're going to decide who's guilty and who's not guilty. This is interesting. And let me tell all of y'all something. You bet not find Michael Jackson in the Michael Jackson case that she's not guilty, because don't be messing with the Michael Jackson. I said what I said. All right, it's that time. You've heard the mess. You've also heard the law, and you've heard the public perception. Now I need your final verdicts on all four cases. First up, Kim Kardashian. Is she guilty or not guilty for paying those workers what they're owed? Drop down in the chat, please, really quickly. Is Kim Kardashian guilty or not guilty for paying those workers what they owe? Drop down in the chat. Is Kim Kardashian guilty or not guilty? Brenda K says guilty. Edita says guilty. Nisha Phillips says guilty. So right here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, Kim Kardashian, you have been found guilty. Guilty as charged. All right, Rashee Rice, is he guilty or not guilty for violating his probation? It was just weed. Is he found guilty or not guilty? Because he tested positive. Is he guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. Is Rashee Rice guilty or not guilty? Eva Neva 78 says guilty.
Damn.
Essa Stone says guilty. Charlene Lambert says guilty. All right, Mr. Rice, sorry, I understand it's just weed, but you've been found guilty. Guilty as charged in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Let's go to Paris Jackson. All right, now y'all better figure it out. Is Paris Jackson guilty or not guilty of bringing this up during the success of the biopic? Is Paris Jackson guilty or not guilty of bringing this up during the biopic? Drop down in the chat. Is she guilty or not guilty? Vippa P says not guilty. Charlene Lambert says guilty. Nisha Phillips says guilty. Chaos God says not guilty. Of course, you would say that, Chaos God, but Pamela Monroe, bring it home, Pamela Monroe, guilty. Paris Jackson, you are guilty for being rich and getting on my nerves. All right, next up, Hartbeat. Is Kevin Hart guilty or not guilty for being salty about these people leaving? All right, is Kevin Hart guilty or not guilty or being salty for these people leaving? Drop down in the chat. Is Kevin Hart guilty or not guilty? Eva Never says guilty. Edita says guilty. Let's see. One more. Paris is not guilty. Sandra McGee, you're late. Brenda K says not guilty, but SL Warrior says guilty. So we're going to find Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, you've been found guilty. Guilty in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Counselors, now, no need to hedging, no lawyer tap dancing. Tell me tonight, Attorney Turner, which case is the messiest morally?
I think we were messy because I don't know if we thanked Brenda K for her super chat. So I just want to say thanks to Brenda K. She snuck it in there at the end. But I do agree with you, despite my comments, that Paris Jackson case is messy morally because I think she had improper motives.
Really quickly, if I missed a super chat, it was not intentional. Here it is. Okay, you're right. Here we go. Brenda K. Thank you, Brenda. Brenda K. Thank you so much. I would never want to skip over anybody's love like that. And I really do mean that. Okay, everybody. Well, now you know. Let's go straight. Brenda K. We covered that, right?
Yep.
All right. Excellent. All right. Tonight's lesson is simple, everybody. Big brands can still get sued like everybody else, especially if you're spending billions of dollars on marketing and making billions of dollars, millions on marketing and making billions. Fame does not erase payroll obligations. I hate to tell you. Athletic talent does not cancel court conditions. State money may look emotional to the public, but legally it lives and dies by documents. And corporate breakup can go from resignation letters to restraining orders overnight, especially when you're working with Kevin Hart. But the bigger lesson is this: the public does not wait for trial. The public does not wait for discovery. The public does not wait for a judge to explain the burden of proof. The public sees a headline, feels the way, and starts deliberating immediately. And that's what we do here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. And that's the reason why this courtroom matters. Because here, we don't just ask what happened, we ask what can be proven, what looks suspicious, what is legally relevant, and what is public relation damage, and what happens when celebrity power thinks that they are above the law, but bigger than that, above accountability. I'm Judge Al Reynolds. This has been Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. As always, we love it when you drop down in the chat. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Need to get to 200. Need that tonight. Drop also in the chat the next case you want us to cover on this docket. All right, tonight, court has been fun. Don't mess with the Jackson. Definitely not Michael Jackson. Court is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for the super chat and for joining us.